new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Lyuna Labor's Local 663, who remind all of us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. We go north to Blair Oaks High School and head Falcons football coach Ted LePage. Coach LePage, thanks so much for your time today.
Appreciate you having me.
11-2 a season ago, tremendous season, and kind of been accustomed to that there for the Falcons. What are you having to replace due to graduation, and who are some of the folks stepping into those roles?
Well, the biggest one we have to replace is probably Brady Kirkland, our middle linebacker, two-time first team All-State player, and then he was 2A player of the year, and last year he was class 3A player of the year on defense. Just a phenomenal player. Went to the Air Force Academy, great kid, the guy that you want in your program to lead by example, and he'll be irreplaceable. You don't replace guys like that, but we feel like we got a bunch of guys that will step in and assume the leadership role that Brady overtook. Offensively, we've got almost everybody returning. We lost an All-State guard and Cole Peters, but we've got 8 on the offensive side of the ball. We averaged over 53 points a game last year, and our starting quarterback, our starting running back are both back. They were all-state players, and they both have accelerated their game. Defensively, we had to replace 2 D linemen that were really essential to our program, but we got an D lineman back. A lot of people don't realize we played without a first team, our second team all-state D lineman last year. He got hurt against Lutheran North in the first half, and he didn't play the rest of the season. And his name's Carson Luberine. So to get him back, along with our all-state defensive end Bryson Varner, we feel like our D line will be able to as strong as we've been, and then our secondary is all returning. So we're going to really miss our linebacking core, and we're looking for that one offensive lineman to replace Cole.
Outstanding, coach. As you look at jamborees tonight, obviously every coach I've talked to, this is I think 24 coaches I've interviewed across the state. Obviously, the number one goal is to come out healthy. What are you looking for tonight as we're recording this here on the 23rd? What are you looking for tonight to get out of a jamboree?
Well, I don't really look at it. We're getting something, get this, get that. What we're looking for is just to stay healthy, plain and simple. I tell our players we're playing a football game, but it's not a football game. This is a glorified practice. Go out and give 100%. But we're really trying to maintain the mantra that we're playing for Maryville. I know everybody wants to say, hey, you're going to go hit another jersey, you're going to do this. But 2 years ago, we lost our starting running back at a torn ACL in this scrimmage. So it's one of those that's a catch-22. You get the experience of getting out and getting everything out of the way and getting the doldrums of the last couple of weeks of practice out. But at the same standpoint, boy, you really want to protect yourself, because you can get shorthanded real quick in a situation like this. So we're going to go out tonight, be smart. The scrimmage is going to be against 2 of the better teams in the state at any classes, in Rockbridge and Helias. So we'll go out and we'll compete. We'll do what we do. We have not practiced one bit for them. We don't worry about that. We're going to go out, just run our plays, run our defense, and then get ready to play Maryville in week 1, which is a monumental task.
Again, visiting with Blair Oaks Falcons head football coach Ted LePage. Coach, tell us a little bit about your schedule. Is it the same as last year? Any additions or subtractions?
We start off with Maryville, and then we go to Lutheran North. So we start off the year just bang, bang. Probably the best team in the west side of the state in the last probably 5 to 10 years, and maybe longer. And then one of the best teams predominantly in St. Louis over the last couple decades. Then we go into our Tri-County Conference, play normal conference polls, our schools, but we had a team drop out of our conference. And last year we picked up a team from Topeka. This year we picked up Blue Valley Southwest, which if anybody knows anything about that football team, they went to the state Class 5 semifinals in Kansas last year, and had a guy that was up for the Simone. So very, very proud program in a very great area. We've got to go there also. So we got a trip in St. Louis. We got a trip to Kansas City. But, we're really excited about it, because, again, we look at, if we're playing those kind of teams, that means we're we're playing for something, because you just don't play teams like that on a whim. There's no accident why we're playing them. It's because we can't schedule anybody else. So we got to step up our game and really, really play very good football when we play those three teams along with our conference.
Coach, what was the summer like? What do you guys do over the summer camps, 7-on-7s? What do the Falcons do?
Well, we're a really big baseball school, and I think people know that we won state title last year in baseball. So our baseball team was playing well into June, and then they have all kinds of summer leagues. So we take June and we just lift, and then we come back the week after July 4th, and we start our program. Then we start with 3 days a week, then we go 4 days a week, then we go 5 days a week with our contact days, and we really try to ramp it up as we go. And we got to go and be part of the 7-on-7 at Mizzou. And we got to be part of a little camp down in St. Louis where we went against MICDS and CBC. So what we tried to do is we try to schedule some things during the summer where we see some really big schools. So when we go like tonight with Rock Ridge and Elias, it isn't that, oh gosh, we're school 400 and we're playing a team 2,400. It's all right. We've seen CBC. We've seen MICDS. Hey, we can go play at a Lutheran North. We can go play at a Shawnee Mission or a Blue Valley Southwest. We can go play a Maryville, and there still is that, that fear because they're such a good program. But there's not that all when you walk into their program like, oh, we shouldn't be here. We want to tell our kids we should be here, we should be playing, and let's go.
Well, one thing here, you've got your 2 weeks in basically into the fall practice. And I don't know who sold their soul to the devil, but you've had tremendous weather up until this point. At least we have in this part of the country. It's been very nice.
Yeah, and I've been asked that 75 times. I've been asked it once, and I tell everybody the same thing. You need the hot weather early in this camp. We haven't had it because next week we're going to see it, and you get that adverse situation at practice you can't create, because the weather helps create an adverse situation so you can get a little bit more of the grind in. And to this point, we've had one day that we had a grind, but most of the practices have been very, what you've referred to, just pleasant. And so there's not been that adverse situation that I require, that I feel like I need to get out of our players, because when the weather kicks in and it gets hot, the mind seems to trick the body. The body will continue, but the mind will trick the body. And we want to get over that and say, hey, tell your mind to back off a little bit. Your body still can go and keep going. So I look forward to really this next week getting into the heat a little bit and letting our players have to fight through it.
Very good. Well, Coach, as always, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time. Sorry for the little hiccup there at the beginning, but always great to visit with a Hall of Famer.
Well, I appreciate it. And they got a low standard for their Hall of Fame, don't they?
Don't say that. Don't believe that for a second. But, Coach, hey, best of luck, and hopefully we'll get to catch up with you later on in the season and talk about your team and your program.
We sure would love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Blair Oaks Falcons head coach Ted LePage. You're listening to and watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life.
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network. My name is Guy Newcomb. MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Also presented by Liuna Laborers Local 663, who remind us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. We go to Midway High School, and the head football coach, Kyle Shanker, is kind enough to join us. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Thank you very much.
And before we get started, tell us just a little bit about your background. Where did you go to high school, college, and how'd you end up at Midway?
Yeah, I'm a Kansas kid. I actually grew up in southeast Kansas, really small school, probably a little smaller than Midway, to be honest with you. Oswego, Kansas. So it's I kind of understand how things work in the really small school settings. So that was kind of neat. Ended up, I went to my freshman year, I went to KU and played outside linebacker there. And then I ended up transferring to the University of Wyoming, and ended up finishing out there. And I spent 8 years in Kansas. We were at Sterling, Kansas, right in the middle of the state. We were there for 8 years, like I said, and had kids. And obviously, you realize that you're too far away from family. So we ended up getting back close to here. My wife is from Blue Springs, and then it was closer to my family once we got back to this area. So we went to and landed in Harrisonville. I was there for 21 years, 21 awesome years. Loved it. Then I ended up getting a kind of a call and an opportunity to go down to Ozark. And it's kind of, we kind of thought that we'd kind of end up probably down by Table Rock Lake anyway. So it was kind of the timing and the fit and everything really seemed really neat. And it was neat. It was a neat experience. We were down there for, actually I was in Ozark for 1 year, and then I went over to Rogersville, which was a neat little school. I was kind of friends with the head coach, and he had an opening. And so we kind of hooked up, and that was really nice. And I figured, well, we're going to end up in, Rogersville and do our thing and retire on the lake. And anyway, family kind of needed help. And so that's what brought us back to this area. And it was really a blessing that this job opened up. One of the neater blessings in my life, to be honest with you. It's been nothing but, just positive, and just been a great feel and a great fit. Coaching so much, there's so much timing and fit in coaching, and just to land here when I did, and how everything is going, and they're pretty hungry to kind of really get things going, and there's so much support here. So it's been a huge blessing just to land at Midway.
And what year is this for you at Midway?
This is my very first year.
Okay.
This is year one. This is year 32 in coaching and teaching, but this is my first year. Like I say, I came back to the area, and this is it. So this is a great landing spot for me.
What have you learned? What's the learning curve been like coming from being an assistant coach at Ozark, Rogersville, and those places? Now you're kind of, so to speak, moved one chair down, where now all the decisions fall on you. What's that been like? Right.
Yeah. When I was, I was a head coach at Harrisonville also before I left. So I had that, but then like I say, then I was a defensive coordinator those 2 years. And that's what I was for probably 17 years before I was a head coach. And, so I kind of understand. It was kind of good to get back into it. I was the head coach and kind of understand all that stuff, and then got back to being an assistant, and then and just playing those roles and everything. And then it's kind of really neat to come back. I tell everybody, it feels like I went on a little bit of a little hiatus, or a little a 2-year leave, and got away and really learned a lot of things from. It's kind of funny how you can just go 2 hours or 2 hours and 15 minutes south, and really, even after 30 years, how much you can really pick up and learn, and how much you can still grow. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like the good Lord said, go here for 2 years, and then we're going to plant you back at Midway and see what you got.
Very good. Well, what have you done over the summer? What do you know about your team coming back?
We, I think everything I brought in was everything that we brought in together is really new. It's we haven't had the greatest success around here, and I kind of enjoyed that. Once I realized that, I was like, I think there's something that I can bring here, as long as I get surrounded with good people. And I do. There's amazing. I've got great assistant coaches that I'm surrounded with. And they're, like I said, the community support. They're all in. They're all in for having a really good, successful football season. But our summer was amazing. Our kids, there's just 30 of us, and they've bought in. They work they work like crazy. We told them when I first met with them, just take a leap of faith, just take a leap of faith, and then maybe see if I can earn your trust. And once we got that going, and I'll, and we'll go, that'll be back and forth. Then I think we can have something really good. And I've got to hand it to them. they just dove in with both feet, kind of like we asked them to, instead of take that leap of faith. And they have been nothing but stellar. And everything's been pretty new to them. Just the way we've done things and the way we've run things. You know, we had a wonderful summer. Then we ended our summer with we had a 4-day team camp just with us, and then we ended by going to team camp at Branson and really put our kids into the fire there. And you know, they probably got as many reps at that camp, and that's why I like it so much. Than you're going to get in half a football season. And we really grew, and you know, we've gone through. Like I said, I told our kids, so it's all about changing our limits, and you know, understand that there's times, you know, when you change limits, you're going to, you know, you're going to look bad sometimes, and you're going to fail, but that's not the destination. That's just a checkpoint. You know, we can look back and see what we need to be fixed. But if you ask me, you know, we're at as high of a point as we can be right now. I think, you know, it's not like, boy, I wish we could be here, but we're kind of right at here. I don't think that's the case right now. And our kids, they've really bought in, and they are really hungry, and they're excited. They're excited about football, and it's really awesome to watch.
Coach, as we embark here, we're doing this recording on Jamboree Day. Or do you guys participate in the Jamboree, and if so, where and who's a part of it?
Yeah, we're going to go down to Lincoln, which is a little further than I would like, you know, if we could handle that. But that's out of our hands, and that's already taken care of. And we have 2 sessions. We just have 2 sessions down there. It starts at 6, and we're going to have our 24 plays with Lincoln, and then our 24 plays with Sherwood, and then we'll be back on the road. But we really look forward to it. Obviously, this time of year with everybody, it's just time to play somebody else.
Yeah. And what do you know about your opponents outside of you open up with 4 consecutive home games? So that's got to be nice. But what do you know about the teams on your schedule?
Yeah, there's really good teams on our schedule. I mean, anytime you open up with someone like you know, Mid Buchanan, holy cow, you know, they're a perennial power every year. So we look forward to it, though. We know their schedule is, you know, it's really good. And you're right, we do have a lot of home games, and something that something that's brand new to me is, it's kind of funny. I think I've played on grass over the last 23 years. I think I've played on grass about 10 times, and now I own grass. So, so we had to learn to, you know, the guys had to teach me how to paint the field and all that stuff. And it's, you know, it's something that you enjoy. It's that, you know, it's just, you just get out and you grind it out, and you're like, this is what we do. This is what we do around here, you know? So we're chopping the wood and we're carrying the water. That's for sure.
Coach, if you know, I get to maybe October 11th or that Colk Camp game, can you tell me 1 or 2 players that folks are going to recognize by then on your team, that some guys may be surprising people?
I think there's 2 or 3 that you'll really recognize them. Trevin Adams is our running back. He's a junior this year, and he's pretty good. He's solid as all get out. He possesses a lot of good skill. He's very shifty. He's very strong. He doesn't mind running by you, but he has no issues running into you and through you. So he's very solid. He's very gifted, obviously, and we know our quarterback is a heck of a player, and Brody Cook. He's just a sophomore, but he's a very gifted and talented athlete. Got a great head on his shoulders. Both of them do. So that's kind of, if you look at our team, you kind of look at Trevin and Brody, but you know, I think you're going to look at our offensive line, and you're going to think, I really think that they're going to be, you know, the center point for everything. Obviously, we tell our kids if we can't block it, it's not going to work anyway, no matter how pretty it looks or anything. So, and I think we've got some really solid kids up there. So if that offensive line as a whole, and hopefully that by that time, you know, our defense is speaking some really good things, and you know, people are talking about that, and understanding that they have to deal with us. So we'll kind of see how that comes.
Outstanding. Again, visiting with Midway High School head football coach Kyle Shanker. Coach, what are you doing between now and the 30th outside of, obviously, you got a jamboree and hopefully you stay healthy. That's probably the number one goal, is come out of it healthy. But what's your prep like going into next week?
Well, absolutely. We'll really iron things out and whittle everything down, and we're going to do what we do best, and we're going to put our kids in the situations, offensively and defensively. We're going to figure out what we do exactly, what we do the best, and we're not going to fiddle around with other things. We're not going to try to get cute or anything. And we're going to just lock in, and we're going to give our kids the best opportunity that they can do. And that's all we'll work on next week. Is we'll lock it in, and if we haven't worked on it and put a lot of time in it, we won't mess with it on a Friday for sure. So that's exactly, and we really look forward to that. So we'll kind of meet Saturday morning afterwards, and we'll get locked and loaded and kind of get on the same page and get vertically aligned and all that good stuff. And then we'll kind of head our ways, and the offense will kind of take care of their stuff, and defensively we'll take care of that side of the ball, and we'll be locked in, and like I say, we'll put our kids in the absolute best position that we can to be successful.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here on the Missouri Sports Network. Safe travels tonight for your jamboree, and wish you the best, and everybody stay healthy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you visiting with me today.
You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where, as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. We'll be right back after this.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to. With a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants.
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective, and find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. My name is Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy. Pleased that you're joining us now, presented by Lyona Labor's Local 663, reminding us, all of us, to drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by Bambino's Italian Cafe in Springfield, Missouri, home of the Quarterback Club, every Monday at noon. Well, we welcome in the new Lone Jack head football coach, Sheldon McKenzie. Coach McKenzie, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And before we get into the Mules for this season, talk a little bit about your background, where you went to high school, where you've coached at, and how you ended up at Lone Jack.
Yeah, so a little bit of a whirlwind over the summer. I've been at Gravette, Arkansas, which is a 4A school in Arkansas, as the defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator for the last 7 years. So started out there, but prior to that, I was at Decatur, Arkansas. Spent all of my career in Arkansas. I've coached some 8-man football. I've coached small school 11-man football up to kind of medium, what we call medium school, I guess, football. We I also coached track and was at a decathlon, decathlon event at the end of the school year back in early May, and was just sitting around talking, and was talking to another track coach that was there, and talked about how he had just accepted an athletic director's job at a school in Missouri. And we just kind of started talking and about philosophies and coaching and stuff like that. And he said, well, I've got a head football job open if you're interested. I drove home 4 hours that night, talked to my wife about it. And she said, why don't we put a pause on this till the morning? Because it was 11 o'clock at night. And then the next morning we sat down and talked about it and decided to go ahead and kind of pursue the opportunity. And here we are. So.
Well, outstanding. What's been maybe the learning curve going from being a coordinator to being in that main seat and having to make those decisions? What's that been like?
Yeah, well, it's different. One thing for sure, you hear all of the issues, with everything before. As as a coordinator, you don't really have to worry about maybe all of those little things that go into running that program every single day. As far as dealing with the parents and the administration and all of the little things that you just have to do on a daily basis that you don't really have to worry about. As a coordinator, I just kind of got to worry about football. So now I've got a little bit more on the plate, but I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. So, I tell the kids all the time, the important thing is we learn from the mistakes and we move on and don't make them again. Like, that's all we're trying to do.
Outstanding. Well, you've taken over a program that has struggled here recently. They were 0-10 a year ago. What have you learned about Lone Jack since you've been there, about the student athletes? What's your philosophy going into it? Or you obviously want to change the record, but have you changed many things?
Yeah, I mean, we'll come in. I have a different philosophy than what they had here in the past, which, I mean, I'm still a run first guy, which is what they have been, in the past, but they've had more kind of a split back veer type look to the system. And we won't do that so much this year. We'll be more of a pro based, running game. And, the thing I've learned more about kind of the Lone Jack system, like, the kids are hungry. They want to win. Nobody likes going 0-10, so the kids are hungry and they want to learn. They've been coachable, and they've been open to new ideas and a new way of doing things. And so, I'm not trying to come in and reinvent the wheel. Like, there's nothing really that needs to be done from that perspective, but we've upped numbers. They said they had 23 go through the program last year. We've got 36 on the roster right now. So, the kids want to do well. They want to compete. They want to win. So it's just a matter of just overcoming that mentality and that mindset of, we haven't won, to now, hey, let's put ourselves in a position to start winning some football games.
So the numbers have been good. What did you do over the summer? 7-on-7s, camps. What was that like?
We came in a little bit late. I didn't get the timing of it was kind of weird. I got offered the job over Memorial Day weekend. We accepted it that next week after kind of just going through the pros and cons of moving a family, 3.5 hours away and buying houses and selling houses. And then we didn't get to officially make an announcement until 2 weeks into June, because I actually had a minor surgery that I had to do on my shoulder. So we were just we got off to a little bit of a late start. So we had to cancel the 7-on-7 league that we were in and things like that, just because we just didn't have enough time to put a scheme together to go do that. So we basically just spent the summer lifting weights, doing install, working on us. Like, I didn't worry about anybody except for, Lone Jack, except for the mules all summer long. And hopefully, it's going to pay off. We'll see. We'll see as we go through this. But we just kind of focused on us and not worrying about all that other stuff. We did a 3-week camp, inter squad camp this summer, and just kind of have approached it from there and trying to get better from where we were last year.
At the time that we're recording this, it's Jamboree Day. Are you guys participating in a Jamboree? And if so, where and who's involved?
Yep. So we're hosting the Jamboree. We're part of an 8-team coalition. We've got 4 teams coming our way tonight. We've got Southeast out of Kansas City, Hogan Prep and Kip KC is coming to our place, which we play Hogan and Kip both in the regular season as part of our conference. So it's kind of a unique situation there that we're getting to see them tonight. It'll give us a good idea of kind of where we stand in terms of what we need to get better on and just what we need to work on moving forward. But yeah, so we've got them coming to our place. We're excited to put on, to go after somebody else. I think that's one of the benefits to not doing any camps with anybody else over the summer is the kids are really anxious to go out and get after somebody else. So we'll see, hopefully that getting ready and being excited about that will pay off for us tonight.
Again, we're visiting with first-year head coach at Lone Jack, head football coach, Sheldon McKenzie. Coach, what do you know about your opponents? Coming from the Arkansas area, now you're into kind of central Missouri there. What do you know about the teams that are on your schedule?
Well, not a lot, if I'm being honest with you. I've watched film on last year, so just kind of get an idea of what people do. We've got Windsor week 1. I know historically it's a good program. They've got a really strong thing going. I believe, if I remember correctly, what I've been told, they played for some state titles in the past, pretty recently and had a good year last year. I know they went, I've been told, I've watched the film. I know they're a strong program. We've got some other teams that we play that we feel like we can probably be competitive with if we can just get things going in the right direction. We've got to have some success early on. That's what we know. We just got to get some confidence and kind of go from there. And other than that, I really just I haven't asked a whole lot in terms of what we're expecting. Because like I said, I've been focused kind of on us and getting us better. And then we'll kind of approach, when we get to there, I'll learn more as we go off, as we go into this thing. But it's just, it's a learning curve for sure. We're just going to have to hit the ground running. It's like I, told the kids from day one, like, hey, we're going to attack this thing headlong and whatever comes, and we're just going to make the most of it.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, again, I appreciate you being generous with your time here on High School Game Day as we've traveled around the state. We've got, I think, 5 interviews today from Columbia Rockbridge, and I have to look at my list. But anyway, I look forward to seeing how the Mules do this year, and hopefully, throughout the season, we'll be able to get you on the scoreboard show and talk about a Mule win.
Yeah, hopefully we're talking about a few wins. I'd like to talk to you a couple times. That'd be awesome.
All right. Coach, thank you so much.
All right, I appreciate it.
You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Back after this.
Your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support. For life, great.
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, presented by Liona Labor's Local 663, who remind us, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by Bambino's Italian Cafe, home of every Monday's Quarterback Club Luncheon. Also presented by the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. We go to Tipton High School now. We welcome in the head football coach, William Duke. Coach Duke, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me here. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Coach, an 8-3 season a year ago. Tell us a little bit about that, put a bow on it, and what are you going to have to replace due to graduation?
Great question. We were very fortunate. We did well last year, 8-3, led by some amazing seniors and some underclassmen. Obviously, a lot to replace. We had first-team All-State defensive back Jackson Bailey, an All-State offensive lineman, in Max Maddox, who was a senior who graduated, and just a number of seniors who really committed several years in a row to put Tipton football back on the map. And after that last game down there at Crystal City, when we ended our season in the second round of the playoffs, I thanked all of them for putting Tipton football back on the map. I truly believe that. For a long time, Tipton was very, very good, had a lot of state semifinal runs, quarterfinal runs. And for a while, it struggled, to be honest with you. And that group of young men really helped turn things around, along with the class right before them. And do we have to replace them? Yeah, we do. Those were not just good football players, but good young men who were leaders. But at the same time, we had a lot of young men who were underclassmen who played in all of those games, got a lot of experience. So very much looking forward to what this group can do. This is Team 65 in Tipton football history. So we're looking forward to it.
Nice. And, as you look at the summer, what did you guys do over the summer? Some 7-on-7s, where you go to camp, and what were the numbers like?
Numbers were good. And actually, bragging a little bit on the kids, one of the tenets of our program is we are going to lift weights and we're going to train to be faster and stronger. And though that is not negotiable. Typically, I like to give the team a few weeks off, sometimes up to a month after the season is over. I'm pretty sure they're tired of seeing me for a while and listening to me. And all of our kids play multiple sports, so they're moving on to basketball and wrestling and then into baseball and stuff. But this group of young men, they didn't wait for me to give them a date when we were going to open up the weight room. They texted me and said, "Hey, Coach, you're going to open the weight room on this day, just so you know. You be there because we need somebody to unlock the door." So kind of get out of our way. We have a plan in place, and I'm happy to report there were times, and we opened it up to some middle schoolers as well. There were times that there were greater than 60 young men in that weight room at 6 o'clock in the morning, and for a Class 1 school, that's a lot of kids and parents that are making that commitment. Summertime was great. We don't really do any 7-on-7s because I try and stay out of the month of June when most of those are happening, so that kids can play basketball, they can go on vacation, they can play baseball, and they're not being pulled in multiple different directions. We like to make sure that they don't feel like they have to choose between a basketball game and a football practice, a baseball game and a football practice. So we typically don't start anything until just after the July 4th holiday. And I guess I kind of tell them at that point, hey, it's football season, so let's go.
Again, we're visiting with Tipton Cardinals head football coach William Duke. And Coach, you come out of the summer relatively healthy?
Yes, sir. We had one young man who sustained a fracture in his arm, a freshman. Felt really bad for him. He's a great young man. His name is Alex. It was on the last day of summer practice. He fell down and broke that arm, but he should be back before the season is over. But other than that, yes, sir, very healthy, thankfully.
Outstanding. As you look at your schedule, I've noticed maybe one or two changes from a year ago.
I'm sure you do.
One in particular.
Yeah.
Tell us about this year's schedule.
We moved into a new conference, the Central State 8, very much competitive in everything that they do. It's going to be great for all the schools in there, and Tipton especially. But it gave us a chance to add some teams to our schedule because not every school in the Central State 8 plays football. Week 1, we are going to play California, which is a school, 3 times our size, but it's only about 10 minutes away. And Tipton and California play against each other in almost every other sport except for football. And they haven't played each other in football for over 25 years, I believe. So we're kind of bringing that back. Logistically, it just makes sense, right? They're 10 minutes away. The communities know each other for everything else. Why not? Why not play that game? To me, it just makes sense. And then week 3, I got a call and said, "Hey, are you willing to play the Lamar Tigers?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely. Yes, we are." So we agreed to play them on a home and home series. We're going to Lamar this year, and Lamar will come here next year. In order to be really, really good at anything, you have to compete against the best. And Lamar has certainly shown themselves to be one of the best football teams in the state of Missouri for greater than the last decade. So why not?
Outstanding. Well, what between now and then? Obviously, you've got a jamboree tonight, and tell us a little bit about where that is and who's involved.
Sure. We're going to Versailles this year. Last year we went to California, but we thought since we're going to play them in about 7 days, it's probably not the best idea to go and jamboree with them tonight. So we're going to go to Versailles tonight. Versailles is there. Cole Camp is there, who was on our schedule last year, but as we moved into a new conference, they've been replaced with a new opponent. And Clinton is there as well, so somebody we haven't seen before, and that's okay. Now, our primary goals for the jamboree, probably just like every other high school football team in the state, is to come out healthy, right? To come out healthy. Truthfully, you probably get less reps in this jamboree than you do at practice. But you get a chance to get dressed up. You get a chance to compete against somebody else. You get a chance to get on a bus and travel somewhere. So you get a lot of learning opportunities. But make no mistake, for us, this is very much let's go out and compete, and that's how they will be graded. The kids will be graded on how well they compete, and we'll show up tomorrow morning, watch film, and get ready to kick this thing off.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time. I know we've spent a long time visiting with coaches from around the state. That's always a pleasure to kind of put a face and a voice with a name. And
Sure.
This is, I think, the second time at least that you've been on the Missouri Sports Network.
Yeah, what you're doing is great. You talked to us last year right before we had a game against Adrian, and that we had some people out that game. We were missing a few of those key seniors that we talked about. And we just appreciate what you're doing. For me, high school football is probably one of the most purest and best sports you can, the ultimate team sport. And I'm blessed to be able to do this, and I appreciate everything that Tipton has done, taking a shot at a guy like me who's not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm not in the building all day. But, taking a shot on me and bringing me here. And really, truly, this is the best part of my day when I get to go and hang out with these kids and be a part of this process with them.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, best of luck, and I know we'll visit with you throughout the season. And to become an official friend of the show, you have to make 3 appearances. So,
Okay.
So next time, you'll be an official friend of the show. But I really appreciate it. Best of luck, and anytime there's anything we can do for you, help promote something, a young man, a young lady,
Good.
whatever. We are all about the kids.
Good. Well, hopefully I could be back tomorrow. We could just make this thing happen sooner rather than later.
All right, very good. Coach, hey, best of luck at your jamboree tonight. Stay healthy and safe travels back and forth, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
God bless. You're watching and listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Back after this.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri.
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective, and find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Liuna, Labor's Local 663, who remind us, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. We go to Columbia and we bring in Rockbridge head football coach, Matt Perkins. Coach, thanks so much for your time today.
Happy to be here.
Coach, a great year a year ago, 9-3 on the season. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to have to replace due to graduation and maybe some of those folks stepping into those roles.
Yeah, we're losing a really good running back named Cooper Myers that scored 10 rushing touchdowns for us a year ago. Kind of a little bowling ball. He played the fullback H position for us, but we would bring him into the backfield and let him kind of ram things in at the end of the series. And then on defense, where we're going to have to replace 3 All-State linebackers, we had a guy named Grayson Cutchlow that's now at Mizzou. Had a guy named Spencer Irvin that went to Morningside, and had a guy named Elijah Morton that is at Pitt State. So those 3 linebackers are gone. That's a lot of a void right there in the middle. And then we're replacing a guy named Colin Snow that's the all-time leader in interceptions in Class 6 in Missouri State high school history.
Wow, that's a lot to replace. What's the summer been like for you? I mean, you got 7-on-7s. What do you guys do over the summer?
So, we've been pretty busy. We went to the Pitt State team camp, wanted to throw a little love at those guys for how hard they recruited Elijah. So we went down there to team camp, kind of got to explore a little bit with some of the new faces and new places type deal, and learned a lot about ourselves. And then, we went to a Mizzou 7-on-7. And then we wrapped up in July with the Branson team camp. Like to go down there and get my kids out of the house, get them away, and let them, control the strip there at Branson and just wreak havoc. And so we did all that. Had a really good summer. Learned a lot about, what we need to do going forward. And really blessed. We bring back just about everybody on offense, and I feel like we've got a ton of weapons there, and best quarterback in the state, and just a lot of really good things to talk about on that side as well.
Again, visiting with Matt Perkins, the Rockbridge head football coach. And Coach, as you look at your schedule from last year compared to this year, are there many changes? I know the conferences, with Ozark Conference kind of folding, you've got some of the stragglers coming out of that conference.
Yeah, so our conference is not a full conference in terms of, weeks 1 through 9 being taken up. So we actually opened the season with a non-conference game. It's a new opponent. We're going to go to Kansas City and play Park Hill. Traditionally pretty good football school. They play in a really tough suburban league over there. And, it's a great way to start the season because you get to find a lot about yourself. And again, don't know much about them at this point. So hopefully tonight with Jamboree, we'll learn a little bit. Then we end the season week 9 with a non-conference against Francis Howell. And that's a great barometer right as you're about to go into, playoff field of play type deal. Last year we lost to Francis Howell in a PAT or on a field goal that got blocked. We drove the length of the field down 2 and, milked the clock and then kicked a field goal from about 30 and they blocked it. And, otherwise we might've won that game right there. And so those are the 2 non-conference. We added Camdenton into our conference. So a familiar opponent for me coming from the Ozark Conference. Another reason I hate purple here. We've got Hickman, hate the purple at Hickman, hate the purple at Camdenton. So all is well.
Very good. And you mentioned that we're recording this on Jamboree Friday. Where are you guys headed and who's part of that?
Yeah, we're going down to Blair Oaks. I'm going to see Coach LePage and going to play against Elias down there with Coach Henches as well. So 2 really storied programs, really good programs, going to see some really good football.
I was saying you guys relatively healthy at this time. Obviously haven't played a game, but I've seen a lot of guys get hurt over the summer. I know Mount Vernon lost a kid at that Branson game.
We are fully healthy. We have 100% of our roster ready to play tonight. So that is, it's really exciting. We got 158 kids on our roster. So it's a wild experience up here. We're going to travel 110. So we're not bringing some of the freshmen there, but we are healthy and a lot.
Outstanding. Well, that's a ton of kids there. So you guys open up at Park Hill and at Smith Cotton. Tell us a little bit about the other members of your conference. I know you said you were a little bit shorthanded as far as not having a full 10 game or 9 games, I guess.
Right.
But who are the other members?
Yeah, the Central Missouri Athletic Conference consists of a lot of, the surrounding middle area teams. We open after the week 1 game. We open with Sedalia week 2 for conference play. That'll be at Sedalia Smith Cotton. Coach Gray does a great job there trying to get things going for that program. He's had a couple of really good freshman classes back to back. They bring a lot of their kids back, so they've got reason to be excited. Then week 3, Jeff City comes to us. So, with new Eric Thomas as their head coach, we get to see Jeff City. We then turn around. We go through the Jeffs. So we play Jeff City week 3. We play Cap City week 4 with Joe Collier as their head coach. Joe runs some split back veer, a little bit of flex bone. They are a handful. If you've watched Lebanon play, very similar type environment. You have to go in there with the mindset you got to score every time. It's tough. Week 5, we play Halaya, so we finish our 3 games in a row with the Jeff City group. Week 6 is that Camdenton game, so that'll be new, for the conference. Week 7 is Battle, and week 8 is Hickman. So that's the conference rundown. It's just a lot of fun going through it, and we look forward to every single one of those games.
Well, outstanding. Well, Coach, as always, I greatly appreciate you being part of the show, and you've always been a friend of the show. We have a new rule here. If you have to come on 3 times to be a friend of the show, and this is probably your 15th time on going back to West Plains. But Coach, tremendous luck this year. I know we'll get to talk again and get you on the scoreboard show after a win.
I'd love that. You do a great job, man. Really look forward to talking to you every time. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, Coach. Have a great day. God bless.
You too.
You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol remind us to take that 3 seconds and to buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life.
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Liona, Labor's Local 663, who remind us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by the Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. We go north to Savannah High School, and friend of the show, head football coach Anthony Hayes. And Coach, you've got to appear on the show at least 3 times to be a friend of the show. So
yeah,
you've done that multiple times going back years ago. Now, Coach Hayes, thanks for being part of it.
Yeah, I think we've way surpassed 3 probably at this point.
And we're probably close to 20.
I bet. Every time I get to talk to you, it reminds me of my time in Southwest Missouri. Those were good times at Parkview and Branson. And so it's good to talk to you, Guy.
Hey, you bet. Always good to catch up with you, Coach. And first off, tell us a little bit about 7-4 a year ago. What are you having to replace due to graduation, and maybe who are some of the folks stepping into those roles?
Yeah, we're really proud of our guys. It was my second year last year. The year before, we were 10-2 and made it to the district championship. Won the MEC conference championship, and then last year we got bumped up to Class 4 and made it to the semifinals and lost to eventual state champion Kearney. But man, we were within a score in the 4th quarter with them. We were their closest game in the playoffs, and I think it gave our kids some confidence that, hey, if we could go toe-to-toe with a team of that caliber for 3.5 quarters, 3 quarters plus, then we could go play with anybody. And so we have a good core group coming back from that team. We got kids like Landon Nolan and Cooper Burnsides that were both all-state defenders. One was Nolan was is a linebacker, and Cooper Burnside's 2-time all-state defensive lineman. They're coming back anchoring our defense along with 5-6 other starters on that side of the ball. I mean, we could put 8 to 9 guys on the field that played a significant amount of time. Gage Bolin, Landon Nolan, Cooper Burnside, Cooper Swan. There's a group, Kel Bechtold, that Sawyer Sprague, that we're excited about. We had a string last year where we had 4 straight shutouts defensively, and we have the core of that group back. We feel like the defense can be the backbone of our team, and those kids work hard. They're 3 years in our system, Coach Caleb Wiley does a great job as our defensive coordinator. Those kids have bought in. So really excited about that side of the ball. Offensively, our starting quarterback was a sophomore last year, Aiden Knechtenhofer. He's back. So are a couple of our top receivers from last year. Jaden Martinez, I think, is going to have a great year. Max Howe. Jackson Segrist was kind of a change-up back for us last year, had a few hundred yards rushing, 5 or 6 touchdowns. He was the secondary back between our All-State guy, Cade Chappelle, but he got some good experience. So all that to say, we got a lot of familiar faces coming back, and we're coming off two winning seasons, and we're hoping that momentum in year 3 here in Savannah for me is going to be a special one.
Coach, as you look at over the summer, what do you guys do over the summer? 7-on-7s. What's the attendance been like?
You know, that's one thing that stuck out to me when I first got here. I don't have to pull teeth to get kids to show up in the summer. We do 6:30 a.m. workouts. We're lifting. We're running. We have some 7-on-7 we do at Missouri Western on Wednesday evenings in the summer, and the kids are there. You know, I'm not calling kids or picking kids up. If I say we have football, the kids show up and they're ready to work, and that's an awesome thing about Savannah, Missouri. It's a football town, and the kids are bought in.
As you head into the Jamboree, first off, where is it and who's a part of it, and what are some goals that you have? I know you've got just a handful of kids you got to replace, and maybe you're trying to bring in some underclassmen and see if they're going to be able to play under those Friday night lights. But obviously, goal number one would be stay healthy. But as you head into that, first off, where is it? Who's a part of it? And what are some of the goals?
Well, last year we asked to be part of the St. Joseph City Jamboree, which is kind of a fun tradition with St. Joe Central, St. Joe Lafayette, St. Joe Benton, and it was typically with St. Joe LeBlond. And so the 4 St. Joe schools for 50 plus years had a Jamboree at Missouri Western. LeBlond has since moved to 8-man, and so we felt like part of our school district overlaps into St. Joe, and so we felt like, hey, we could be a natural fit to play a really cool atmosphere game at Missouri Western, which is where Chiefs training camp is. It's a pretty cool environment, and with 4 local teams all in the St. Joe area, it's packed. I mean, Pratt Stadium is completely packed, and so we were part of that last year. We're going to be part of it again tomorrow night, and I like it because it's a really fun atmosphere for our kids. It's a really it's a Friday night vibe that you would have on a big Friday football game, and so there's some excitement there. As far as goals, you hit it already. You want to get out healthy, number one, but it's important that you get some quality reps. You know, we haven't had a really great chance once we started 2 weeks ago. You know, the first week you're in half pads, no pads. We all have our scrimmages, you know, probably on Saturday, this past Saturday. But inter-squad scrimmages aren't the same as when you're hitting a different color jersey, you know. So I think we added some quality reps in and get acclimated to game speed before we play against a really good Pleasant Hill team next Friday.
Again, visiting with Savannah head football coach Anthony Hayes. And Coach, with regards to your schedule, compare last year to this year's schedule, very similar, or has it changed at all?
Exact same schedule, except we actually had a game in Ozark, Missouri against Portageville. Portageville was a state semifinal team out of the Boot Hill, and we opened up with them in a non-con last year. We both were looking for a game desperately. We were the only people I felt with open weeks in the state, and so we met up, and we both were quality football teams, and it was a shootout game. We found somebody a little closer. We're going to open up with Pleasant Hill week 1, so that's really the only new team on our schedule this year. As you probably know, Pleasant Hills has had a great run over the last few years. I believe they were a quarterfinal team last year, semifinal team 2 years ago. They're also a Class 4 team, kind of on the lower enrollment side like we are. It's a great opening week matchup, potentially against 2 top 10 teams in the state. It'll be a test right out the gate. I like that. It's a challenge. You want to see where your kids are at. And really, it gives you kind of that playoff atmosphere right out the gate, you know, and so we're excited to have that. We have a brand new press box, brand new turf. It's a game that's going to be at our place. There's going to be a lot of excitement, so I'm really looking forward to that first Friday night.
Outstanding. Coach, if you could talk about something, that right now you're pretty comfortable with. You mentioned you got a lot of guys on the defensive side coming back. What are some areas maybe not really concern, but what are some areas maybe where early in the season that's going to test you a little bit?
Yeah, we have a couple new faces on the offensive line. Every year, regardless of returners or whatever, the offensive line, that's a lot of work. You got 5 guys working in unison. You got to teach them communication skills up front and adapting to different fronts. And so that's probably every year. Week 1, is that offensive line ready to go? Are they ready to communicate? Get us in the right blocking schemes. Especially we've got a couple sophomores on there, and those guys are working that out. So we have some spots that we got to fill in the secondary, a couple spots at receiver with some graduation, new faces in the backfield. So you're excited about some of these young guys that maybe had really great sophomore years on the JV team, and so you get to see how they react in the Friday night lights, and hopefully the lights aren't too big, and they'll eventually settle in, but it's a roller coaster when it starts.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, as always, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time. And like I said, we've spoke probably 20 or 30 times over the past decade, and I really appreciate you always being accommodating. And best of luck as we go on. And I know we'll talk to you throughout the season.
Hey, Guy, I always appreciate you, man. Anytime you want to talk football, just let me know.
You bet. You bet. Savannah head football coach Anthony Hayes here on the Missouri Sports Network. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.
Your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Liuna Laborers Local 663, who reminds us, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. We go 100 miles, right at 100 miles northwest of the studio here to the 8-man football defending state champion, Archie Whirlwinds, and head coach Drew Smith. Coach Smith, thanks for your time today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Coach, talk a little bit about, obviously we're almost 2 weeks into the fall practices. Tell us how it's gone for the Whirlwinds.
Well, we're trying to figure a way through this thing. We got a lot of new people getting into some roles. We had about 5 seniors graduate from last year's team. The good news is that we have the potential to replace those guys with players that are very good and capable of stepping in. It's just about trying to find our niche and what's going to work for us and what our identity is going to be this year with some of those new guys and honestly just kind of learning from the players that we have now and just seeing what works and what doesn't work. So that's our biggest thing right now is just kind of remembering that we're not last year's team. This is a brand new team for us, even though we do have a lot returning. We have enough new pieces that we got to be able to figure it out and kind of put this jigsaw puzzle together.
Coach, what's the summer been like? What do you guys do over the summer? You go to, I don't know. I don't know if 8-man football has 7-on-7s, but what do you do over the summertime?
Well, we do have 7-on-7. It's called 5-on-5. We did go to a 5-on-5 session over in our neighbor Drexel, which is about 10 miles from us. So we went to about 3 sessions there. And then in July, we don't really do anything in June because most of our athletes are dual sport athletes, so they're busy with basketball. But we start kind of picking things up a little bit in July with some 5-on-5, 7-on-7 stuff, and then we went to a team camp in middle of July up to East Atchison, way up by Iowa. We went there for a week, not a week, weekend. And then we host a team camp of our own at the very end of July with about 8 or 9 different teams coming. So we don't do a whole lot in June, early July, but then it really starts picking up about mid-July on. We're pretty busy with football activities.
And Coach, and again, we're visiting with Drew Smith, the Archie head football coach. And Coach, tell us a little bit just about your background. How long have you been at Archie? Where did you go to high school, college, and how did you end up at Archie?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be my 5th year at Archie. I got into education about 8 years ago up at Princeton, Missouri. Followed a buddy of mine up there to get into coaching. We coached up at Princeton for about 4 years, 11-man football up there. My wife is from the Kansas City area, so we wanted to kind of get closer to her family. So we kind of packed up and left. And it was right during the middle of COVID when all this happened, and Archie was open. And I applied, got the job, told them I might be a better assistant than head coach because I have never seen an 8-man game in my life. And I know football, but I know there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So I wanted to give them a heads up. And they said, well, if you want the job, you got to be the head coach. So I took the job and kind of haven't looked back since. We've been 10-2, 10-2. 11-1 or 12-1, and then 14-0 this last year. So we've been pretty successful since we've been here. I went to college. Sorry, I forgot to say that. I went to college at Southwest Baptist University down in Bolivar. Graduated with an exercise science degree. Didn't do anything with that. Got into teaching instead. So that's a little bit of a synopsis of me.
Funny you mentioned that. I probably am a 9-iron from Southwest Baptist University's football field, where my house is. So I've been here in Bolivar about 30 years. Coach, you talked about the learning curve a little bit. What was maybe the toughest thing to learn?
2 things. Everything hits quicker. Everything hits about a gap quicker, and you're always going to feel like you're a man short on defense. You don't have that odd number, that safety kind of back, and just to say like, okay, well, if all else fails, we got a safety back there that's going to keep it for a 10-yard gain. So those are the 2 biggest things that I've had to learn to kind of be comfortable with. Not all the plays that I brought over from 11-man translates really well to 8-man. There is a little of a learning curve. They can still work. You just have to be able to adapt them and just realize that buck sweep isn't going to hit out wide or have that nice little cut up that you want because it's going to look a little bit more like a power scheme if you want. You can run it, but it's just going to look a little different. Defensively, you got to practice a ton of open field tackling. You got to be really good at open field tacklers. So those are the 2 biggest things that I stress to any new coach that's coming into 8-man that I've had to learn that's been passed on to me. So I like to pass that on to someone else.
Coach, talk about, are you a member of a conference? And if so, kind of talk about that conference a little bit.
Yes, we are part of the WeMo conference. Don't ask me what it stands for. I just call it the WeMo conference because that's what everyone else calls it. We got 8 other teams in our conference, 7 other teams, sorry. And then we have won our conference the last 2 years, and then we lost it the first 2 years to a Drexel just down the road from us. They won the state championship a few years ago, and then they lost in the semifinals my first year here. So they were a pretty good ball team.
Very good. And as you look at your schedule, you open up at Lockwood. Is that schedule pretty much very similar to the schedule you've had since you've been there, or are there any additions or subtractions?
So yeah, when I first got here, Lockwood wasn't on the schedule. They were still 11 man. So that is a new one. But this is our second year in a row, I believe, maybe third year, having Lockwood on our schedule. This is our, I think, third year now, opening up the season with them. But we've had to drop some teams just because distances, or with the expansion, honestly, with the expansion of 8-man football in Missouri, a lot of teams have gone from independent conferences to now having a conference, and then now they have to schedule their conference games first. And so that means they had to drop us. So we've probably maneuvered around about 3 or 4 different teams. But now we're pretty set in stone about who we play on a fairly consistent basis. Every year we probably had to have picked up at least one new opponent. But Lockwood is always a great first game for us because they're extremely well coached. They're a hard-nosed football team. They play well. They play hard. And so it's nice, kind of it's nice and it's not nice, kind of coming in. First game of the year, you always know you're going to have a good opponent your first game, so you better be ready for it. That's nice for as the coach telling the players, hey, you guys you don't have a cakewalk your first game. You got to be ready to go to keep their focus. But then it's also like, man, I wish I could see them like week 3 or 4 once we get a feet underneath ourselves. So, but yep, they're a worthy opponent, and I'm extremely excited to go play them.
Now you've got your Jamboree Friday night like everyone else. So where is it and who's involved?
We're hosting Jamboree this year. We have 3 other teams coming. We got Osceola, Rich Hill, and Appleton City. All schools within our conference kind of coming out to us, and we'll have ourselves our Jamboree here.
As you go into a Jamboree, and we've done probably 25 interviews here in the last week or 10 days with coaches around the state in several sports. What are your goals going into it? I mean, obviously, and everybody says number one is stay healthy. But what are you looking for here? Of course, you lost 5 seniors, but that may be something. But what's your goals going in?
Goals going in, like everyone says, staying healthy for sure. But then just kind of for us, it's just kind of getting out there and just kind of getting those that routine started. Of, hey guys, this is what it looks like when we do a Friday 7:00 game routine. This is how we go through our warm-ups, our walkthroughs, our bus ride. Well, we don't have a bus ride, but we go through like, okay, this is what time we get here. This is the atmosphere is going to be. Get that little bit of excitement out. Work through some basic plays. I mean, our kid knows them. Our kids know them, and now it's just about going out and hitting someone else. And honestly, about adjusting on the fly because we don't have the time to prepare for a 3 front or an even front. So just going out there and kind of saying, okay, well, we need to work on an odd man front a little bit more, or okay, we got the even front down, so now we got to work on this a little bit. So those are the big things that I like to take away personally. Not really more about like who stands out, who plays. I kind of know who's going to do what. There's always a couple of surprises, but there's not enough plays to really get a good sample size of what someone's going to do. You get that in practice. It's more about just getting into that rhythm, that routine, and seeing what maybe we need to work a little bit more against on up in the front 7 for us. So,
Coach, talk about your staff. How many, and how long have they been with you?
Well, I have 2 assistant coaches. I've got 1 person that kind of volunteers and helps me up top. So I've got really kind of 3 people, 2.5, 3 people on our staff. One guy's been with me for 3 years now. He's a former player of mine, so he's been great. He loves the game of football. He is stepping up into the role of defensive coordinator for us this year, so I'm excited for him to grow. And I'm excited that he's a hometown kid that wants to still stay involved with the football team and kind of be that the culture that we're kind of talking about and building, so he can be around the kids and be that positive role model for them. I got another one. His name's Chad Stroud. He is new to us this year. He moved away a couple of years ago and then came back to the district. He's an extremely intelligent football coach. So he's going to be our offensive and defensive line guy, and I'm extremely blessed to have him. But he's our first year on staff, And then my booth guy, this will be his second year helping us up top in the booth. So not a huge staff. I'd always like to have a couple more guys, but not always the case.
Very good. Well, Coach, I appreciate you being generous here with your time on the Missouri Sports Network. If there's anything that we can do, if you've got kids you want to promote or programs or situations, something like that, we would love to be a part of it and help promote that. But I thank you for being part of this show tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate the coverage. I always like to see the athletes in Missouri kind of get their their time on air. So that's always nice to see.
You bet. You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane in Bolivar, Missouri. See the folks at Doak. Also presented by the Bank of Billings. The Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in
When you drive a Chevy, it's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Also presented by Lyona Laborers Local 663, who reminds us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. We go back to Maryville High School, and friend of the show. To be a friend of the show, you have to have been on 3 times. And Coach Matt Webb has been on a number of times. And Maryville Spoofhounds head football coach Matt Webb, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Guy. I'm happy to move up the ranks and be a friend and not a foe. It's always a good thing to be in the world of athletics. I'd rather be a friend than a foe. So I'm glad I graduated that level finally.
Hey, you bet. Well, hey, you never were a foe, so not of mine. But Coach, 9-2 a year ago. Talk about kind of put a bow on last season and what you've got to replace coming into the 24 season with regards to graduation.
Yeah, it was obviously we talk about leaving a legacy and a proud tradition here in Maryville and what being Spoofhound football is all about, and to go 9-2, or really to lose the first game of the season to Blair Oaks last year, obviously a perennial powerhouse, and then our district championship game to St. Pius, were our only losses last year. That everybody knows that St. Pius in Kansas City's really got their program on the up, and kind of like I said, a disappointing way to lose the district championship, but to realize the quality wins we were able to get throughout the year, be conference MEC champs, to be able to rattle off 9 wins in a row with a quality group of young people on our team, just kind of speaks volumes for the year we had. Really excited about this year. We can talk more about that here in a minute, but last year we graduated some record-breaking performances. Our quarterback Derek Quinlan is going on to play college basketball. He was kind of our all-time leading passer, and we graduated a really talented receiving core, kind of led by Delton Davis, who signed to be a Bearcat out here at Northwest, and he's doing well. I think everybody will see his name through the MIAA ranks as his career progresses here in Maryville. And then we graduated a lot of skilled kids, some depth. We really graduated 3 of our starting 4 defensive backs. Like I said, most of our receiving core and the likes of Wyatt Garner, Don Allen was a very talented position player on offense and defense. Did a running back and wide receiver and defensive back, and then obviously a couple of linemen up front. So got some big shoes to fill, but last year's class, we're certainly proud of that year.
And so who are some of the kids that are going to step into those roles and talk about what you've got coming back? And again, I see you open up with Blair Oaks. Yeah,
that's a full question there and one answer there, Guy. The guys we got coming back, we really feel good about our front 7 on defense. We got 2 defensive ends that were all conference and received postseason recognition, in Lucas Viertaler and Major Scarborough, Phoenix Phillips, Mason McKim. We got some really good size on our front four defensive line, and then some depth. Young guys like Cannon Scarborough, and Charles Myrick and Cade Watkins, and some of these names you've heard before through Maryville football, and they're these guys either little brothers or cousins, or some of these familiar names in a community like ours. And then some returning starters at linebacker, with Satherview, Gus McCullough, and then a really strong our strong safety is Cole Zarbano. And Cole was a guy that received postseason recognition last year and a really good athlete. And then so that front seven on defense we'll kind of rely on, and as we bring in our young guys and new guys in our backfield. On offense, it's really confident to know that we got a senior quarterback in Matthew Walter. And while he kind of waited his wings while Derek was a quarterback, Matthew is certainly capable and has a really good skill set. He's a great leader. Kind of in our scheme of things, obviously no matter what level you play, I don't care if you're Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, there's a reason Mahomes is a starter, and quarterbacks kind of run the game of football. I think it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can have good play there. Obviously, Matthew's not probably one that's going to throw behind his back in a preseason game like Patrick did last weekend, but can certainly operate our offense. Really, just excited about the summer he's had, and then some other guys stepping up, on the offensive line. Again, Mason McKim will just be a sophomore. Brandon Wilmus will be a senior, kind of stepping into his role. Again, Cannon Scarborough's a both sides of the way guy. And then Cole Zarbano plays offensive wide receiver for us. Major Scarborough plays tight end, and then a really magnitude of backs. It's going to be fun to see kind of the way we don't operate out of a single back look where somebody's going to get for 2,000 yards or something here. That's not what we do. We like to spread the wealth and keep people fresh, and that's the way our team works. And so really it's just kind of been fun watching those guys progress. And I always talk about they're chomping at the bit. It's their time to shine. Everybody was proud to be on that 9-2 team last year. Now they look in the locker room and that legacy's done, and how are you going to leave your mark? So it's going to be fun to see these guys step up and who makes plays and who's those guys this year.
Coach, talk a little bit about what's the summer been like. Had good numbers out, and what's it been like here just this first week or two of practice?
Yeah, summer. We always start off the Tuesday after Memorial Day, kind of start in the weight room and start some practices here. We're a program that likes to travel to team camps. We're very fortunate and blessed to be in Maryville and have a great team camp here with the Bearcats and Northwest Missouri State. And the competition that they always have up there, we enjoy going out there to that team camp. But once every kind of 3 years or 4 years, we like to travel and get out of town, just to get the guys on a bus. Get away. Coach Webb takes their cell phones for 2.5 days, and all the girlfriends are mad at me because they can't communicate on Snapchat and all these things they like to do. But you get to see guys kind of interact face to face, and the old school thing of let's get on a bus. And so we went to South Dakota State, we went to Brookings. Anytime you can go somewhere that has a culture of winning back-to-back national championships at the FCS level, where we're located, it's a great drive. Coach Webb's getting soft in his old days. A few years ago, I would have taken yellow buses on that trip, but we decided to get the guys a charter bus, and so a little bit more comfortable for everybody. When as coaches get older, I think maybe we adjust the whole thing, because I didn't want to ride a yellow bus that many hours away either. So, but it was a great experience. You get out of town and see different talent. It's kind of a typical team camp, different teams that you have no idea where they are. If they're from Minneapolis, they're from South Dakota, they're from Kansas, Nebraska, the teams that we don't see, and it's fun to see something different and see what's out there and compete, and we did really well at that camp, came back healthy, and then stayed in the weight room all summer, did some things amongst ourselves and did our conditioning. Our numbers were great. It's kind of a smaller freshman class for us, just the way our size of community rotates through. And so our freshman numbers are somewhat small, but in general, that's a small class to begin with. So they kind of rotate in, rotate out. You mentioned Blair Oaks, week one. I mean, here we go. It's like we're not going to start the season off with a changeup or, something off speed. We're going to get a fastball right down the middle, because Taylor Page has a great program, and it's always a great great time every year. At the end of the game, we haven't been able to win, and you always want to start off the season with a win. But every year I kind of, I'm thinking, why am I scheduling this thing? Of course, I'm now the athletic director here too, as football coach and athletic director. So I got nobody to complain to except myself on scheduling. But Blair Oaks is a great opponent. I love playing good competition. Our non-conference schedule is Blair Oaks week 1, and then Class 4 Pleasant Hills come into town week 2. We do our normal MEC schedule with the likes of St. Pius, Chillicothe, Cameron, our St. Joe's schools in Benton and Lafayette, and then a very good Class 4 school in Savannah. So the MEC rigors that's it with that. And then week 7, we get to giddy up and go play Lutheran North again, playing them at Chillicothe about halfway. So we certainly, put the fastball right down the middle and say, let's go see how good we are, and then hopefully get ourselves seasoned for a good playoff run.
Again, visiting with Maryville Spoonfound, head coach Matt Webb. Coach, where's your jamboree and who's a part of it?
We'll be going to William Chrisman this Friday. We scrimmage against William Chrisman. In the past, it's been William Chrisman, Raytown South, and Kansas City Center. So we'll be at William Chrisman this Friday night.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate, just like always, being generous with your time. I know we'll visit either on the scoreboard show or throughout the season. And best of luck, and hope everyone stays healthy. And we look forward to visiting with you. Thanks, Guy. Make sure everybody gets on. I wanted to drop a note. We really, our community passed a bond issue the first week of April. We've added brand new turf field. We got brand new, football, soccer field, as well as our baseball complex will be baseball, softball, full turf, not just the infield, the entire field will be turf. So been a busy summer. And then we added one of those giant video boards on the 50-yard line. And I think everybody can get on social media and really see what we've done here. But we're a proud community, and certainly our facilities, reflect that now. And been a busy summer, but just excited to get those things kicked off on a sense of newness. Well, outstanding. Congratulations. And I'm sure you had a big part in that.
Thanks, Guy.
You bet.